What is good, YouTube? It is Andy from kaizentcg. I run a six-figure online Pokemon business. In this video, I wanted to talk about one valuable lesson that I've been thinking about often, and it is when to cut your losses. You know, as a vendor, you get a lot of deals that come through, and sometimes you think it's a good deal, and sometimes you get in things that you might not be as knowledgeable about. Like, for example, you know, primarily this year for our booth, we sold a lot of modern and ultra modern. So mid-era, vintage, there's a lot of niche things that I'm not super knowledgeable on. And you take those things in and you find out that, you know, perhaps your clientele, your market, or that card is not as liquid. So in this video, I wanted to talk about just cutting your losses, right? So one thing that I would say is last year, there were certain things that I bought and I thought that would do well, because when you're making a purchase, you're speculating that you're speculating that, you know, it'll at least stay the same price, or perhaps you see something that may lead you to believe that it will go up in price. But, you know, at the end of last year, we all saw with modern, a lot of stuff came down, right? So it's like, when do you cut your losses? And what is the opportunity cost of holding something for so long? Where, you know, you get liquidity kind of locked up. It's kind of dead money if demand goes away. So looking back, I remember when megas were really popular for a bit. Like, everybody at the shows asked us, so we loaded up on some megas and it did okay. And then out of nowhere, demand just fell off a cliff, and no one wanted it anymore. And then prices started dipping on them, and you know, that it was kind of either you hold it and hope it bounces back, or you gotta dump it for liquidity to grab other things, right? And to do that is either you could give a really good price, or you go to other vendors, streamers, give them a good deal, move it, get cash back, rinse and repeat, and then get into other cards or slabs that are going to be more liquid. And that also happened with tag team. And the other thing I would say too is being mindful of trying not to buy at all-time highs for things that are hyped, right? So tag team was super hyped. Things shot up, you know, 200% over a short period of time. And if you bought it at that time, and everyone was asking about tag teams at the shows, it was like liquid like water. But after a couple months, demand died down and prices started dipping. And then at that point, it becomes like a race to the bottom almost. And when things are going down, the thing with Pokemon is when things are going down, people don't want to buy as much as collectors, because they don't want to catch a falling knife, or they feel like they can wait for it to drop more. But when things are going up, people FOMO and they rather pay, and it's almost momentum. You're starting to see it like other TCGs, like One Piece right now, where as week by week everything's just going up and up, and people are FOMO harder into it, like they won't be able to get it. Like the same thing happened, I've seen with the Moonbryon. The Moonbryon was 2K, it dropped down, then it went up to 3K, and then when it went up to 3K, a lot of people were asking about it, they wanted it, and then it dropped down to 2,500, 2K. People were fire selling, it wasn't as easy to move, and then Moonbryon's back up to 3,500 now, and it's flying, right? And I'm talking perspective here in Canada. US, you guys just have a lot more liquidity and abundance. So I'm not talking about you guys, but for Canada, I feel like the market here is a lot smaller, and especially the West Coast compared to the East. And when things are coming down, people just kind of just slow down on their buying. But for some reason, when things are going up, it's human psychology. It's the fear of missing out, and they're willing to pay the top dollar for it, right? It's just one piece was available for everybody for 2 years and at a reasonable price, and now it's going crazy. Everybody at the show, a lot of people at the show I know, is they're asking about One Piece, getting into it, but they're paying top dollar, all-time highs. It's breaking records seems like every week right now. It reminds me of Pokemon 2021. But in this video, we're just talking about cutting your losses, because it's hard. It's hard. Vending is hard in the sense that, you don't know what the future is, and demand can fall off. So sometimes you just got to reevaluate your inventory and see how long has this card been sitting in my inventory. Has there been any interest? Is it just like no one wants it anymore? And you can move it and take that capital and put it into something that's better, a better play, maybe something that's trending in the current market. Like right now, vintage is really hot, but obviously don't jump into something you don't know as well. The competitive advantage is like study, research one of the niches very deeply, so you have a competitive advantage. Otherwise, you could lose money. You could lose your shirt. So just like the Japanese market over here, some stuff is liquid, but a lot of times things become illiquid. So that's another reason why you gotta cut your losses. Like the card just becomes illiquid, and it's better to put it into something else that is a lot more liquid and faster moving, because it's just sitting there, and day by day it could just keep going down and down. You just don't know, or just stay stagnant, right? So cutting your losses there, that's another one. And cutting your losses in terms of you might try out things. Like for me, I tried out Japanese vintage, and over here the demand wasn't that popular for Japanese vintage. So for mid-era, not talking about old vintage, but like mid-era, I tried some mid-era stuff. It was very slow moving, so I just sold it at a loss just to get out of it, and went back to the bread and butter, which is modern, and what people want, serving the customer base. And I tried it out, right? You still gotta do experiments and try things out, and you're speculating, but put a time frame on it. If your inventory, you have certain things that are not moving, definitely look at it and look at the market and see, okay, is there something better I can put my money in? It's always opportunity costs. So don't get too married of like, hey, I can't sell this unless I break even or profit. Sometimes that's just the way the business works. You can't win them all. As long as you're winning more than you're losing, you should be fine. But being kind of like stuck on something just because you don't want to lose money could be a big problem. If your inventory has a lot of those type of cards, because shifts change, people's demands change, people's tastes change. It's just rides and waves, and sometimes maybe you overpaid. Sometimes you're not as knowledgeable in that niche, and you got in a card that you think is cool, but there's no demand for it. It's illiquid. And if you cut your losses, go back into something that you know that moves all the time, like Crown Zenith, Sword and Shield Altarts, like those things are always going to move. Then that's probably a better play, just to keep the money flowing, than having that liquidity just tied up and stuck, because that will slow down the business, right? This business is a volume business. If you're gonna try to scale, do this long term, try to do it as a full-time thing or even a side hustle, it's all about churning and burning and doing a volume game, making that percentage. And you can take a loss on that deal, and then perhaps the next deal you do, you get a good deal. Who knows, things could go up if you have a hunch that something's undervalued, or you churn it real quick and you flip it, that money 3, 4, 5 times, you make up the loss anyways. That's the way I look at it. Don't get married to, hey, I have to break even no matter what. Otherwise, it's going to slow down the business a lot. And obviously, you don't want to be doing this a lot, because then if you're cutting your losses a lot, it means you're not buying the right things. So analyze what you're buying, what your customer base wants, what your local area wants. Are you selling online? Vending is a different inventory, So yeah, in this video, I just want to talk about that. Do you have any experiences with something that you bought and you had to sell for a loss? And let me know in the comments. I appreciate everybody checking out the video. And yeah, that was just on my mind. And if you do like the video, please like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you guys. Take it easy. Have an awesome day. Andy out. Peace.